Hello traders, Cory Mitchell here with TradeThatSwing.com. In this video I want to talk about tiny improvements. There's, I think, a lot of why people get disillusioned with a strategy, or they're always kind of bouncing around a lot between ideas and what they should do and what they shouldn't do, is they're not seeing the immediate results. They're expecting, I just learned this new strategy. I'm an unprofitable trader. I learned this new strategy. It's going to bump me up into being a super trader overnight. And that's not usually how it works. We can have a big insight into how, or a big jump in our performance. But usually it's a more drawn out process. And how it happens is by tiny improvements, not one big insight which takes us from losing money every month to all of a sudden being super profitable. Like I said, it could happen, but generally it's going to be you move from unprofitable to less unprofitable, to break even, to making a little bit, to making more. And how does that happen? It happens by tiny improvements. So instead of looking for that huge insight, instead just start focusing on trying to do a little bit better in certain areas. Look at your risk management. Maybe there's something that you could do a little bit better. Maybe your stop losses, the ones that get stopped out would have, they're going to hit no matter what stop loss you have out there. So maybe you could reduce that stop loss a little bit, because basically if it started dropping against you, it's going to take out a bigger stop loss anyway. So why lose that much? Just as one example. You could find ways to stick with your trading plan just a little bit better. If, again, most people are looking for the huge improvement. It's like, I made 5 mistakes yesterday. I can't make any mistakes today. That's unlikely to be able to improve that much in a single day. But what you could do is give yourself the reminders throughout your day, and maybe you go from 5 mistakes yesterday to 4 today. That's better. Then the next day, continue. Try to do a little bit better. Maybe you're still at 4. That's kind of where you're stuck. That's okay. The next day, try to do 1 less, so that you're down to 3. The point is that over a month, you can see progress. Whereas if you're always really forcing yourself to make a huge leap and you're not seeing it, chances are you're going to sort of abandon your progress toward improvement and just switch to something else entirely. So you've making these mistakes, you want to get to 0. It's like, this method's not working for me, obviously. I'm still making too many mistakes. So you abandon it, go to something else, but you could have continued progressing. Think of it over a month. If you make just a tiny, tiny, tiny improvement every day, you get much better. And that's generally how great traders become great traders. Find a way to extract a little bit more out of your winners. Look at your winning trades. Are you getting out exactly at the top if you were long? Probably not. Maybe there's a little bit of room there to improve your reward to risk. Maybe you measure out the price waves or look at support and resistance or something like that, and you can see, there's a little bit extra there that I could be capturing. Over many trades, that's going to improve your reward to risk. That's going to improve your profitability. That would also go for, maybe you can extract a lot more out of your winners, but like I talked about before with the risk management, maybe there's a way to get out of your losses a little bit quicker. I'm more, if a trade doesn't work out fairly quickly, even if I have a stop loss in there, I'll sometimes get out before my stop loss because the trade's already not working. It's not what I expected it to do. Notice situations where you tend to lose. You can make some rules for those situations that save you from a couple losses on average. This is a big one. This is going to take potentially years, where you get really, the more you trade your strategy, the more you see it hundreds of times, thousands of times, you start to notice, Like in this type of situation, it doesn't work quite as well. Or even in my own mental state, I can't trade it quite as well. So you start to develop rules and you avoid those situations which are problematic. And lo and behold, your profits start slightly improving. And again, that can't be something where you can just expect to know everything. It is a gradual process over many months where you start to implement one rule, then you notice something else, then you notice something else. And all of a sudden you had 20 losses a month before, and now you're down to 15, 10. Get a little bit better night's sleep so your brain functions better. I'm talking like go to bed 15 minutes earlier. Just a little bit more, a little bit better night's sleep. Your brain's going to function better in the morning. You sleep, very important. So put a bit more focus into your post-trade routine, your pre-trade routine. Those are things that can really help out, right? We're doing our review after the session to make sure that we can go through all those other things. What did we not do well? What were some of our mistakes? Was there anything that we could look to improve on in the future? Our pre-trade routine is basically reinforcing that type of stuff when we come into the day. What's been a struggle lately? What do we need to remind ourselves of? What do we want to remind ourselves of throughout the session? That's pre-trade routine material that basically we're putting it in the forefront of our mind, and then also maybe writing it down so that we can refer to it during our session. 5 to 10% less junk food, 5 to 10% more exercise. Again, not a huge leap, but think about all these little things. If you did all these little things, do you think it would improve us slightly as a person? And then we're in a slightly better mental state to trade well, which means slightly less mistakes, which means a little bit more profit. And we do this kind of every day. So yeah, 5% less junk food, 5 to 10% more exercise. That's not a lot, but if you're kind of aiming for that every day, and it doesn't mean you have to drop 5% today, 5% tomorrow, 5% the next day, or add on 10% of exercise today, 10% of exercise tomorrow. It just means, be aware of where you are and strive for a little improvement this week. Then next week or the next month, strive for a little bit more. Right? And yeah, be aware of where you are. When you kind of hit a limit, then maybe there's another place where you can do a little bit more work, and it's not a lot of work, right? Like once you get out to an hour or two of exercise, it's hard to keep increasing that because we don't have time. But maybe there is an area where you can improve very easily. You could meditate for 5 minutes a day, where you weren't meditating at all before. And if you were meditating for 5 minutes, maybe you can bump it up to 10. That's a easy adjustment. Spread it out throughout the day. Some other like little things. 5% more fresh air a day. Do 5% more meditation each day. They all just help us stay a little bit more focused, a little bit fewer mistakes. And yeah, this is what pushes us from negative to being slightly negative, to being break even, to being slightly positive. It's just tiny little changes, both in ourselves, our lifestyle, our trading plan, getting ourselves better mentally. So that's where, a little bit more meditation might come in, doing some breathing work, which I find very helpful for trading because the blood pressure, the heart rate tends to get going a little bit. Especially for newer traders, all these new situations, circumstances. But if we can focus on our breathing and just keep deep breaths throughout the session, which we can work on and practice throughout our day, right? Anytime we start to get a little bit more agitated, bring the focus back to the breath, deep breaths in and out, and try to regulate, because that's going to help us in our trading. So if we can do that a little bit during the day, every day, that's like that little bit of practice, which is going to help us while we're trading. So we don't need the huge insight. I would instead say just find these little things that we can do every day to just be in a little bit better mental state, and overall we are going to trade better. Happy trading out there.